Hey, we're live. Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Gotta get used to this new desktop setup. When do you get your Mac back?
Um, I don't know. Haha.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this week's conversation, we're gonna talk about nature-based tech. Um, and we actually have a workshop this weekend about making good decisions about clothing. And in a way, this chat is actually going to build on the same kind of um, building blocks because I think to understand a problem or even to understand the solutions, we have to understand what are the building blocks for it, right? So we'll
Yeah.
go over things like legislative, like there are things
Hmm.
that are going to be outside our control. That means we have to wait till the government changes laws,
Yeah.
or we have to wait for an industry to feel it's worthwhile to take up a kind of technology, which might fundamentally change, I don't know, pricing, distribution, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then there's also just in the realm of actual technology, which
Yeah.
is what's happening in the tech space, and then whether it's appealing to the market and whether it becomes a success, and then it kind of takes over. And and then finally, hang on. And finally, what everybody's talking about AI. We kind of need to have like a separate section for AI. Okay. So let's
Yeah.
just start with a little bit of actual tech for our podcast because, so this is about updating technology. Now we
Mhm.
can do it on our desktop. So I'm doing this on my MacBook, which means I have different
Yeah.
tools. I can adjust my camera, so I can do things like add a studio light. Can you see the
Yeah.
difference? I can add
Yeah. I can see the difference.
I can do a different background. I can do a green screen now, which actually might be quite good for sometimes some guests struggle
So
with
you're
getting
lagging. I'm not sure
huh?
if it's because of you using the studio light.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna take it away. Okay. So one of the problems I do have sometimes with guests is they struggle with getting an outside location to do the podcast from, especially if they're like in KL or
Okay, you're
something.
lagging.
Oh, really? Can you hear me now?
Okay, now you're flowing again.
Okay, I'm gonna switch off the light. Is that better? Are you on your phone
Mm.
mobile data?
Yeah, I'm on yes, I'm on mobile data. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on mobile data too, which is generally better. Okay, so this is already our ability to do this podcast is actually because of this advanced tech, which we're doing it because we don't have to invest in the studio with microphones and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
software of building a two-sided podcast, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is also another direction with tech. When tech advances like this, suddenly we can do things that we couldn't do before, which
It
is
makes
kind
it
of
a lot more feasible.
yeah. I think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's go into the first area, which is actually something that we kind of don't have control over in a specific way, but we do have control over as citizens, which is the
Okay.
legislative area. But I think for that, we actually need to be quite good citizens. We actually need to be aware of what is urgent, you know, how do you even move the needle about getting politicians to do something about it? All these things are actually quite poorly developed here. We have only just changed government in
Okay.
2018. So we are actually pretty new at the idea of just punishing a government and changing them. And I feel that we still don't really understand that that actually is a tactic, whether
Mhm.
you like it or not, just fire that government. so that they understand that if you know if their manifesto doesn't match with
Yeah.
what your what your dream of what you of the country you want to live in, and then that part A and then part B, do they fulfill it? You know,
Wow, today is very, very laggy.
is it really?
Yeah. You have the lights on, right? So turn off the
No,
lights and see if the laggy.
I turned
No?
everything off. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know why, but it's getting stuck more than usual.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not telling me there's a problem. You know, usually it says your internet's
Yeah, no
unstable.
internet. Yeah,
Yeah,
Wi-Fi is not stable.
it's not telling me that.
I don't see a notification on my side either.
Yeah. And you're fine, by the way. You weren't before, but
Okay, yeah.
yeah, you weren't before,
Yeah.
but you are now. Okay. Um, yeah, so
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree. Legislation makes a big difference. Like
yeah,
I was me and my brother, we've been rushing around a lot this last week because of beachfront repair. And we realized that the traffic lights are so freaking inconsistent, but each traffic light is taking so long to release. And we were thinking, like, you know what? With today's basic capacity of surveillance and flow AI, like the machine has learned how
sure,
to deal with like flow.
sure.
Like I cannot understand why,
Yep,
in
yep,
terms of the traffic police or the city, they are
yeah,
not using these basic tools that everybody else is using to
yeah,
get traffic going and to reduce congestion. Because if you reduce congestion, you reduce the amount of carbon monoxide being produced while cars are stalling at a traffic light. And you're talking about a lot of heavy vehicles here.
yeah.
And when cars stall less, they actually have less wear and tear on all the moving parts while it is in a stationary position but still running on its engine. So you think about the big picture of where AI can solve invisible problems. This will be one of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Traffic light flow
I think
control.
that's an issue that I see a problem here is, the
Mm,
technology is there, right?
mm,
And then we might see inflammation in just like these spurts. I think
yeah,
I've mentioned this before, like I go for an annual checkup
yeah.
and which started in 2020 when I got really sick after COVID. And
Okay, yeah.
and every year I go back, there is a light in front of the door to the where the doctors are that will call you
Mm,
in, and it's supposed to
yeah,
call your number. It hasn't
yeah.
worked for 2 years. They couldn't fix a little light box that changes the number. So the specialist
Change the light box.
has to get up, open the door, and shout, "Muhammad Azwan, Muhammad Azwan." I'm like, "This is
That's a
crazy."
bureaucracy problem. That's not a light bulb problem.
That's an admin, that's a management problem, you
Yeah,
know? I asked a
yeah.
friend about this, and
Like,
the problem is that the management is subcontracted. It's not
yeah.
in-house. It's not in-house, so
Like for us, our staff come in, they have a thumbprint time in and time out.
uh
And it wasn't reading correctly for a while. Like sometimes it will log it as an entry, sometimes it won't. So then I called the company, and then I think in the beginning they bought it for like 500 ringgit, which is quite expensive.
sure.
And then recently the price has gone down to like 180. And then
Yeah, it's
during
really cheap
the
now.
9/9 sale, like September 9th sale or something,
I actually
the
bought
guy
one,
told,
and I haven't started using it because I think it was really quite cheap, but the
mm,
instructions are so complicated. I don't know how to set it up. It's so complicated. And then I don't
right,
really need it. I don't have as many workers now, so
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, so in the end, the company just said, send us the old one and we will send you a new one for free because it's
oh,
within the whatever year warranty or whatever it
yeah,
was. So then, yeah, I just got a new one and it's plugged in, and it's just a matter of administratively getting it done, calling
sure,
the supplier,
yeah,
dealing with whatever questions they have, and like just
yeah,
making sure that the owner is okay if you place it. It's a basic thing, but
yeah,
in hospitals, I guess they have so many other things that are more priority, and it's so ridiculous that admin is so backlogged. Yeah,
yeah.
probably as an
Well,
AI for it.
so this is the interesting thing. I just had my blood work done at the December or January, I can't remember which. Um, and after all this after years, suddenly there's these brand spanking new,
Mm.
beautiful LED screens, and now you have to scan to get instead of lining up to get a ticket, to get another ticket, to go to get your file,
Yeah.
whatever. You have to. It's a scan, and your number appears on your phone. So suddenly, we
Nice.
just made this huge jump.
So we leapfrog over the
We
subsidiary
leapfrog,
technology.
which is
Yeah.
actually something else that's going on with technology. There's a lot of
Yeah.
leapfrogging going on,
Yes. Yeah.
and I and this is something that we kind of need to understand as well. So yeah, so now it's on the phone.
Yeah.
So is my next appointment. It's
Mm.
all, and then I noticed it's actually entered my Google Calendar. I don't even
Wow.
have to
Okay.
update it myself. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, and the cool thing about it going to your Google Calendar is as soon as you feel sick, you can go into the entry for your appointment and you can remind yourself, and this date I had this itch and it didn't go away. And then you
yeah,
know how long it lasts until you meet your doctor. Because that's what I do with my mom, because my mom's diabetic. So
yeah,
whenever she hurts herself or any particular thing that she has a niggle with, we would put it down on our phone
yeah,
and send it into a. So Hafiz and I have a discussion chat between the two of us
yeah.
outside our normal conversations. So that one just parks all these issues that my mom has to
Oh,
complain
okay.
to the doctor or things that we
Yeah.
have to buy. So we
Okay,
have a
I
small
do.
WhatsApp
I have
group for
something
that.
similar because what I do is I just take a photograph because photographs are, they're cataloged.
Yeah.
They go into your a Google whatever. I just move them to a health album.
Okay.
So when I go for my checkup, I can look up the photo and say, oh, on
Yeah.
the July I had this problem, whatever.
Yeah. So we're using
Yeah,
different fringe
this is tech.
technology
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we are organizing it in a way that is functional for us. And I
yeah,
think that's where AI comes in and it creates these
yeah,
machines that become the assistants that
yeah.
do all the filing and the categorizing and the
Okay, so
summarizing.
this is an
Yeah.
interesting point because here the fact that there is this global initiative called Google is kind of figuring some of this stuff out for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think for us here, maybe our new focus needs to be state. You know,
Mm.
because if the state's not really working well, we tend to be very focused on national politics.
Yeah.
Like which
Yeah.
party, what's
Yeah.
Anwar doing, blah 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 blah. But actually, all the implementation, like this, with the hospitals and the roads,
Yeah.
this is very state. It actually is complicated. It's not
There's a
all
federal
state.
and then there's a
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So like roads are federal. I just suddenly thought
Yeah.
of it. In the transport's federal. But
Yeah.
I think as a evolved citizen, you kind of need to know this stuff.
Mm. I mean, for me, the reason why federal has made so much like has taken so much of my focus is because I lived in KL for the longest time.
Hmm.
I am in the federal
Oh, because
territory.
it's a federal territory. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so it is a very national level conversation.
yeah.
And all the people, the statesmen that come from TTDI end up in Putrajaya. So it's very reciprocal. They come back, they come to us, So at the end of the day, knowing that fringe politics also makes a difference in the context of where I lived. So now I live in Pahang. There's going to be a roundtable here soon in regards to tourism because the ECRL should be ready next year. So they've just sent us an invitation letter. And I mean, of all the tourism issues, the thing that they've not addressed is safety on the beach
Uh,
because you have a lot of wild dogs and also dogs that belong to people and have collars, but have been trained to bite people so that passerbys do not linger around their compound. So it
Actually,
becomes
just
very unsafe.
on that note, you're dealing with a lot of erosion issues, right? It's
Yes,
interesting because you seem to be dealing it at a private level when really this is a public issue,
correct.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why isn't
So, and that's another thing, right? If you
yeah,
have surveillance, satellite AI, satellite surveillance, and we know because of climate change and climate change characteristics of
yeah,
how to say what sea level rise, we know certain things, right? That we are already projecting from the IPCC's reports. They should be monitoring our coastline, and as we are getting, stronger waves, bigger tides. and we are having like, a lot of new development along the coastline, we shouldn't be reactive anymore. We are at the
Right,
edge
right.
where we should
Yeah.
not be reactive anymore.
Yeah.
We
But
don't need a tsunami to start putting in early action warning.
what about
Yeah.
civil society where you are? Is there any are you organized at all with
Very
other?
political.
Hmm?
Nobody wants to take
Yeah, yeah.
responsibility
It's
for something.
which party they're aligned with, probably.
And for this dog bite issue, I was told to send the council photographs and evidence via WhatsApp. I've sent it. It's been 3 days. I didn't get a reply. So I don't feel like they have bedside manner for the person who is actually suffering the injury. And I'm the resort. I'm representing the guest. The
Sure.
guest has gone back to Spain. They probably
Oh.
land today. So it's really, yeah, so disconnected. So I'm sure there's an AI tool that can help the council
Mm,
organize, respond, uh, catalog, prompt new suggestions, license management. But they don't seem to be utilizing these maybe paid services, but I don't think it will cost the council an arm and a leg because salaries are expensive,
mm.
compared to a
Yeah,
1 year subscription to
but
an app.
also go back to the point that actually civil society organization is also key. I think we're too used to just, looking at very big picture federal problems
Yeah,
and complaining about that when really maybe we need smaller type, um, civil society agencies that can actually are more effective in getting localized problem solved. You know,
yeah. And that
We-
was
we-
the kind of the work that I did for APPGM as a SDG activator. So we
what
teach
is APPGM?
uh in Bahasa it means cross party parliamentarian action group.
Oh,
So it's about activating the SDGs. And really, and I am now, I would say I would be a participant to the action group because we need to
so what is
know.
that? What is action? How are you getting them to do that, CG? Is it legal? I
Yeah,
mean, is
so the
it
thing is, the big part of it is people don't know what the SDGs are or were. They didn't know what the goals were. They didn't understand what the targets meant. They didn't know
yeah.
which department would be the host to which functions within the SDG. So you map it out. You teach people how to map it out and identify how the service should be provided from the parliamentarian and the political side of the equation. So the council fits under the political side of the equation because they are the people who are serving the stakeholder. So the residents will be stakeholders.
Mm,
So in this case, there should be multiple levels of response
yeah.
because you should be able to tell your ketua kampung. Your ketua kampung should be able to collect other
Right.
incidences and then compile this and bring it up to the council when they have meetings because the ketua kampung, the penghulu should technically have at least bi-monthly meetings with the council.
But in reality, with an information thing, you don't even need that really. I mean,
They don't
because
even read their emails. How can they not meet
no, but
physically?
I mean, it sort of happens again in spurts. For example, when I lived in New York, you call 911 for emergency, police,
Yeah,
whatever, and you call 311 if it's actually like a broken pipe or whatever. It's
yeah.
so simple. It's so easy to understand. It's just too,
It's been simplified.
here, it's like you have to directly call the SAJ. It's all so complicated.
Yep,
And then now we also see like these popping up, like these digital tools. There are
yep,
actually apps now that you can, like parking is an app now.
yep,
But they're all very disconnected. They're
yep,
not very consistent across cities and states, as far as I can see.
yep. Every council has its own version. Some have scratch
Right?
cards,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
have apps. Yeah,
So it's kind of that is actually a lot of messiness that should be tidied
yeah,
up because the technology is there. It's actually
yeah.
the management side needs to match the technology. It's a
But you
bit
know
like
what
that.
doesn't change?
Yeah.
The meter maids don't change. There's always the guy going around checking if you paid for it.
Okay. So speaking of which, this is quite interesting. I think I told you this, right? They came and changed my meter, and they put a
Okay.
SIM card in it. They put a SIM
Yes.
card in it. So I said, so I asked the guy, I said, does this mean the guy doesn't have to come here anymore, right? It's got a SIM card. It
Mm.
just sends the data to you. And
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, no, 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 he will still come to check, and then it's like backup." Like, why do you need backup? They also don't want to get rid of the job, I
The
guess,
cost of the backup is
right?
quite a lot. Yeah.
It's an annual salary,
Yeah.
which I guess they also politically can't get rid of.
They can phase it out over time. They can skill the person up into a different job.
Yeah, I mean, that takes some kind of visionary government also lah to
That's the business they're in, human resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that but this is the thing, the way they're dealing with it is they just don't fire that person, they just keep him going.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so, okay, so yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on that is actually not organized very well.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, Actually, when I went for my appointment, and then there was all this, like, suddenly this new tech,
Mm.
and then when I was in the office, I looked behind the doctor, and behind him, there is a wall of files, a wall, okay?
Okay.
And I said, "Hey, doc, when is that gonna get digitized?"
Yeah.
And he actually didn't know. And I know that a few years ago when my dad was in hospital and he was in the first class ward, and the actual hospital is where the second class, the first class is like in a different building.
Yeah.
So when you go in to get your appointment, whatever, if they don't bring your file from the first class ward to the main
Yeah.
building,
Correct. The
they
file needs to
they
be
they don't know
physically
what's going
transferred.
on,
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
that means there's
a
a human
physical
being
file. Yeah,
pulling out files, putting it on a trolley, moving it from place to place.
yeah,
No, but you remember when you did the students' journals, you just took a picture using an AI app. It captured all the text that the essay had, the kid had written in the essay, and you just proved it, and it was the right information, and then that was logged
yeah, yeah.
as an outcome.
That actually is, I mean, it took a little bit more tidying up than, but that is like in 1 year's time, that should be so
Yeah,
automated. It should be so automated that
yeah,
it should be able to do. Um, but yeah, but just to compare this to New York about 10, 15 years ago, if I went to the pharmacy to buy a drug,
you're registered
my it's on a database. So if there's any
because
conflict,
the Americans are all linked by social security number, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not happening here.
No.
Here, there's no linkage. There's very little control. You can buy some controlled drugs here over the counter.
Yes. I can get very, very strong painkillers for my mom's aunt over the counter in TTDI, also because sometimes they know me. And they were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but
And
this is it's a bit crazy, lah. All this
no,
stuff.
but it's so like, it's so dangerous. I mean, I'm not going to use it
But
for the wrong
to our point
thing,
with
but
tech,
still.
the tech exists. This tech was in
Yes.
15 years ago. It's like it's
Yes.
just putting it into work, I guess.
Yeah.
So
No, also the people applying the tech. The
yeah,
knowledge in the job is not, I think the competency is not there.
yeah.
Yeah.
One area of conversation that I will have in the workshop is actually with the choices of clothing is actually there is actually an emerging existential threat with microplastics, right?
Yeah.
And a large component of that is actually clothes because we are wearing a lot of polyester and polyester fabrics, which releases microfiber when it's being spun, when it's being made, when it's being
When it's
worn,
washed.
when it's being
Yeah.
washed. And there isn't really anything being done about it. We are still worrying about plastic bags, you know? So we also have to catch up with like what is really the big problem now?
No, the plastic bag problem is very simple.
Yeah.
Stop making it available. But the thing is, in
Yeah, yeah,
Malaysia, a
yeah,
lot of the SMEs are the people producing those things.
yeah,
So they're going to be obsolete because they have
yeah,
no other transitionary
yeah.
business to move into.
Well, that goes back to this notion of being a sophisticated citizen. I think you have to realize that there are some things that why isn't the government doing this? Because we waited for I don't know how many years, and then the government did it, and now it's better. Like they actually banned plastic bags in supermarkets now. This could have been in
Yeah,
effect 10 years ago, really,
yeah.
because
But
somehow
it's not about the powers that be understanding the importance of these
that's true
things.
too.
We just assume that they know because we know, but
But
actually they just
we
the
don't
average.
necessarily we as a broad citizenry don't necessarily know. I mean, I know
Yeah,
because when I first came back, I was, actively trying to get people to use reusable bags, and, people were very resistant. They
yeah,
were this whole notion of what an inconvenience it was way higher than any of their understanding of why it was a problem. So that's also needs to be fine-tuned,
balanced out.
which is also about information dispersal, which is also, it's also a government thing, it's an NGO thing, it's a personal responsibility to know as well. So then I kind of had a quick look to see what are they doing legislatively about microplastics, and it's starting to happen. They're starting to change. They're making it more corporate based. Malaysia is actually is on the radar for having done some work here, but I think this is where being a better green citizen is about knowing to ask for these things closer
Yeah.
to election time, right? And maybe that is something that we also need to do as a resource. Is that here are the top 10 things you should be asking your local politician for,
Mm,
something like that. So, so then there are national policies, there are international policies, uh, and then the other thing is, what are the solutions? For example, I only just recently read what is a solution for microplastics in the water, which is just boiling the water, which thankfully I just do anyway, you know. But I don't
yeah.
think people know it's not really that well known as a sort of daily. I mean, we do it because we haven't grown out of water. The whole water is unsafe situation. But now
Yeah.
actually boiling the water is a root helps to remove microplastics.
Right.
So, ideally you also add a filter of whatever
Yeah.
the micron size is that you need
Yeah.
to filter the water. So yeah. So
I think one of the things I've been following in terms of policy is that, in the past, how like we used to get plastic waste from Britain. The
yeah,
UK would send us plastic waste in shipping containers. It will land here, it'll get sorted here, and then it gets landfilled or compressed or combusted or whatever it is. So I think back in like 2018, 2019, they signed a deal that Malaysia will stop receiving plastics from other countries.
yeah.
And I think that was a big thing in the
And
newspaper.
part of that is actually
Stuff
because
that.
there were watchdogs on it, and that's Greenpeace,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that the work they did in really exposing this and really,
Yeah.
really banging a drum on it and making people realize it made, made the authorities start to you know,
Yeah. And I think like countries like the UK having the economic leverage
yeah,
to pay us to buy their plastics is a little bit unethical because they should be able to deal with it in their own backyard.
yeah,
They should be able to change their user pattern and say no plastics for these types of foods or this type of items, and then they would reduce at source, therefore not having to transport waste material out of country. And I think that was a very big political debate, and it had some implications in terms of businesses operating in the EU following similar guidelines. So the government imposed it onto business, and then businesses had to enact this reduced plastic behavior. So
just
I guess
to
in terms of governance, yeah, you will always ask the private sector to move first.
get a sense of like uh, who's doing what. In Malaysia, the
Mm.
government is developing national plastic strategies addressing single-use plastic. So, like I said, we're still at that single-use plastic problem,
Yeah,
improving
yeah.
recycling, and studying impacts on water with potential future laws for broader regulation.
We don't need to study lah. Just take other people's studies. It's the
Okay,
same. Water around the world,
in
same.
the U.S., the federal law is bills like the Microplastics Act, focus on EPA-led programs for removal and prevention technology. So it's kind of big picture.
Yeah.
At a state level, California has a SB 1422, which requires microplastic testing and public reporting in drinking water. That's what that's where
Yeah.
we should be at.
That's what we
Yeah,
should implement. Water, drink potable water pollution.
yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next area, which is the corporate and industry level of tech.
We have two industries. Okay.
Sorry, what? What did you say?
Mm.
I missed that last thing.
Yeah. So the water intake here doesn't get monitored well enough, and therefore pollutants come in from industry
Oh shit!
along the rivers
Really?
that feed our
Oh wow!
uh, our pipes are rusty and old. So by the time it gets to your house, whether you like it or not, you have to refilter that water, like you mentioned, to a particular micron size.
Yeah,
It's
you're
almost like
you're freezing up a little. Okay, you're freezing. Let's see if you come back. Um, Let me go over while we're waiting something we've actually talked before, which is tech in the agricultural industry. We're seeing a lot of robot uh, drones for which make make agriculture more efficient. There's also laser technology.
double. Yeah.
Okay, you've caught up. I think it's you. I think it's
Yes.
your connection. Yeah.
Okay. Possible.
Okay, yeah. So I was just saying that we've talked about this before, but in the agricultural sector, we're actually seeing some tech,
Mm-hmm.
emerging tech, which is, and you've worked on drone technology, which is changing the efficiencies
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
and how plantations are being managed. Right? There's just
Yeah.
better. Uh, I know that there are robots that actually kill pests with laser technology, which is the future. You know, we will end up with
Mm-hmm.
eventually having to use less pesticide uh, safely by this use of laser technology. You know,
Yep. Yep.
and
I
then
guess also you think, yeah, you if you think about the large scale of things, you also have the efficiency of using a drone to apply fertilizers or
yeah, true,
pesticides
true.
and
Yeah,
not having humans in that space while it's
yeah,
clearing the air
true. Good
and
point. Yeah,
absorbing,
yeah,
so the human is not getting ill from exposure.
sure.
So it's a little bit more ethical from that
Yeah,
perspective,
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
Also,
laborers, you can tell them you need to wear mask and you need, and they just go on their daily lives with like not a care in the world, and then 4 5 years later they're having like
right.
liver problems, and their coffee
Oh wow, your internet's bad.
and it, it's really sure and wet. Okay, but I've got a full bar here though.
Okay, you know what? That whole section got frozen. I wonder what we can do about this. Uh, is your camera on the right um,
Hmm?
quality? Oh, that's
Can you
better.
hear me? Can you see me now?
Yeah, so much better. What do you do?
Okay, I just reduced the screen and made it bigger again.
Uh, is your camera on the right quality, not too high quality?
No,
Okay.
yeah, this
All
is
right.
the standard.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that one is again, it's a little bit outside our control. We have to wait till these things happen. We have to wait till corporations do
Yeah,
it. Uh, I think another interesting area is packaging. Uh, we keep hearing about this. We keep hearing about better and better bio-based alternatives, but we have yet to really see them really emerging. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We keep hearing about them being made from cornstarch and mushroom
yeah,
mycelium and blah blah blah, but
yeah.
I don't see it.
Bioplastics. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really see it. You know, I've
right.
I hear about it. I've seen some prototypes. It's not in Malaysia, for example. There
Yeah,
was a made out of tapioca starch plastic bag that made
yeah,
some noise a few years ago, but that was coming out of Indonesia, not here.
yeah,
Uh, And then, there's also some misinformation. Like, for example, and this was the government. Actually, I was approached by some state agency or state agency had given some funding to a, 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 a small corporation or enterprise for
okay,
biodegradable plastic. Uh, but actually,
yeah,
that wasn't a good idea, and it wasn't. I think it wasn't well researched because biodegradable plastic bags are not a great idea. I mean,
yeah.
when they just
They
break
just
down to small
break
pieces.
down to smaller pieces. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that's not really got anywhere, and I haven't really heard anything decent uh,
yeah.
to improve it. Uh, Waste management. I don't see that really also going through a real developmental process. We still have a Karanguni guy. We still have, I don't know if they're separating our stuff after they take it, even though we go to the trouble of separating.
We
You know?
don't know. So technically now they use different trucks to take recycling versus household waste.
Yeah,
And I think the goal for it is in KL Malacca. I think it's combustion.
yeah.
Here in Kuantan, they are still filling up landfills. Yeah, and it's not even sanitary landfills. They're just piling it and squashing it. So that's a bit sad.
What I do know, and I would encourage people to do it, is actually there is a hierarchy, which is, it's just the hierarchy is emerged from the data. Number one, aluminum has the highest rate of recycling. I'm not
Yep.
quite sure why. I don't know if it's just a value thing. They're just getting.
Purity of the material and ease for smelting.
Yeah, so I feel a lot I don't feel so bad about drinking a can of something if I want to, but I absolutely avoid plastic
Need
if
to
I
send
can.
it recycling. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my bin where I put plastic is actually always empty. I rarely buy anything that's
Hmm.
in plastic if I can help it, you know, and try and, go another route. Uh, Plant-based food could be better, I think.
Hmm.
We live in a part of the world where plant-based food is actually part of our heritage, and
Yeah.
we just keep moving away from that into very Western style eating,
Yeah.
very high amounts of meat,
Yep.
very high amounts of corn and wheat-based products, sugar, fats, and no one's really innovating in the plant-based uh,
Yeah.
area, and so, you know, could be better.
Hmm.
Okay. All right, now let's
I
move in.
think also
Yeah,
in terms of like packaging, I don't know if our humidity affects it,
I think it does actually. Those tapioca
right?
start
Humidity
those
and
tapioca
the amount of
plastic
UV we
kind
get.
of
Yeah.
were kind of limp. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think those two things maybe affected a lot.
But you know what happened was when they actually banned plastic,
Yeah.
they started this new business of selling at the supermarket. You know how if you don't have a bag, you have to buy a bag
Ah,
made
yeah,
made of
reusable bag.
made of non-woven materials, which
Yeah.
I don't know if people are using in the right way, whether they're actually or you know, they are also
You
not
need to
made
use
that.
those bags about 150 times before it,
Oh, is it
it lives.
150? It's 150?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That was
just
kind
good
of what.
point because sometimes I think it doesn't even make it beyond 50,
Yeah.
right? They're so poorly
Yes.
made that the straps
Yes.
break, it splits on the
And
side
they fall
seams.
apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
you know, we're sort of inching forward. So this is, you know, if we're aware that this is, so the best thing actually is to buy better. You know who makes the best
Yeah.
reusable bags? IKEA. They
Yes, we have them too.
they're like 2 ringgit for almost an indestructible bag.
Yeah.
So every time I go there, I buy a couple of new ones. Okay, let's move on to two big areas. One is personal tech.
Mm.
Uh, this is really making the news. In fact, just today I read a piece of news that all the leadership of the tech companies, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, are actually predicting that the smartphone will end very shortly, and they're
Okay.
they're all racing to replace it. Bill Gates is talking about some kind of embedded tattoo. I don't like the sound of that. I don't know. I don't really know what that's about. Um, but almost everyone
Maybe it's like
else.
Google Glass and stuff like that.
Huh? No, no. This is
Maybe it's like the
an
wearable.
embedded tattoo. That means you're becoming a cyborg. It's
Uh,
like a microchip kind of.
cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is for sure, because people are just racing in this technology now, is smart
Mm,
glasses. That is actually probably going to be the prime target for replacement for the smartphone. Uh,
right.
and actually, this is affecting tech in a few ways. The race for the race for the smartphone in itself is a tech. It's like this huge technology drive. Um, because there are so many possibilities, uh, and they're solving to it as it's happening. So either it's very expensive, you know, so
Yeah.
that's what happens. It's fantastic, but it's over $1,000 US. You know, I'm waiting for it to come out of China for under $200, and I think
I
then,
want to see Russian tech.
oh really? Why?
I don't know. I feel like there's so much in Russia that's happening that we don't hear about.
We don't hear about. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
because I
definitely.
remember like 4 years ago reading something about. So I have so one of my ex staff. I mean we're good friends, and her brother is a dwarf, and he has a larger head than to his body size, and he has a metal plate in his back to help him with posture
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
and holding heavy big head upright. So one of the things, and because he's short, his limbs are not straight in some parts. Yeah. So we were talking about how exoskeletons can reduce the burden on the body in terms of movement.
Oh, okay.
And
That
you look at
that is
China.
like a
China's got these like assisted walking, like
okay. That is enter
exoskeletons. You
the
know.
that is enter the consumer market. It's actually came out at the new CES trade show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're saying, well, there's obviously it's great for like hiking and performance and
Yeah.
stuff, but it's also good for people who are actually uh,
Yeah.
have
And over time, they will lose more
disabilities.
capacity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that there was a case out of Russia where the girl, I think she was in an accident and part of her brain was damaged. And so, although she looks fine, that impact to her brain has caused her to lose the ability to connect to her fingers. So, they wear this thing because we are electromagnetic, right? That's
Mm.
how we send pulses in our body. So it is electromagnetically connected, and it hold. There's a one part in her head, and there's another part like it's on her arm. And the training is for her to for it's programmed, and it plays the piano. So she plays on her right side, and then her left side is controlled by the
Oh.
device. And over time, the device, because it's electromagnetic in sending pulses back and forth, it's rewired the part of her brain that had been injured. And within like 5 years or 4 years or some crazy, short span like that, she fully recovered her motor skills on her left side. And the reason why 5 years is short is because when you are a baby, these neurons are not developed. So as a child, you're learning motor skills, you're building it up.
Right.
And as a 5-year old, you could do some things, but you couldn't do adult things. You don't have fine motor skills, you have gross motor skills. And your fine motor skills are still developing until you're in your 20s, in some cases. So, yeah, so she recovered her full spectrum of abilities by within like the 5 years. So that was Russian tech. And I
Mm.
think, yeah, there will
So,
be a lot of these
so go,
advancements.
go back to smart glasses. I think that's a very real thing, and I think we kind of really have to uh, be kind of ready to accommodate it. For me, it's a price issue as well.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I want, and the price also determines what you get. I don't know. I've never tried one, so I don't really know how. What I'm hearing out of the most recent thing is actually as it gets better, it's less invasive. Because my first thought is it must be really invasive to have all this going on in your peripheral, in your vision.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is actually if it's better. So, for example, some of the earlier forms were only one eye. You're only seeing it with
Mm.
one eye. Now with two eyes, it actually makes it much more, much less
Balanced.
invasive for some reason.
Mm.
Then there's color. So that means if you're okay with what looks like matrix green uh, text,
Text.
that's like cheap. Then because then you're just maybe reading an email, getting a
Yeah.
translation,
Yeah.
which is kind of. I mean, the ones out of all the ones I've seen recently being reported, the one that looks kind of cool to me is actually because I don't like the idea that you control it by, you're touching this on the
Yeah.
side thing, you're
Yeah.
touching this. So there is actually a company which I've seen a long while ago. They make a ring and it actually monitors your health. So instead of wearing a smartwatch, it's actually a ring. So now the
Right.
people who make the ring are making a smart glass and they use and you handle and you finger that ring to make your to trigger your glass, which I
To
think is
control the
yeah,
glasses. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
kind of cool. Uh, but basically what it will do is actually change our so one thing is actually camera. It's a camera. It's audio. You know, input, output. We can capture microphone. So we are going to lose this. We've made it to like the cover of the New Yorker with people walking around like zombies carrying the phone. I mean, those days might end. You know, as we
Yeah.
move into the smart glass thing, where our hands are no
Yeah.
longer, you know, it's all
Yeah.
incorporated into our general.
Hi. Are you trying to check in?
Yes.
Hang on. Yeah. I need to run and help some check in.
Hey, do you want to wrap up? We just make a shorter one. Yeah.
Can. Okay.
Okay, we'll come back and do the
Bye.
AI another time. Okay.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right.
Sorry.
Bye.